where do you feel like things kind of shifted for you in that third quarter?
Exactly in that quarter. It's funny. We came out of halftime. I thought we were in a pretty good spot. There were some things that we wanted to tighten up. I think from like a transition defense standpoint, just with our communication. Kispert had gotten free a couple times, so trying to tighten up our coverages with him, and then finishing possessions. Like they had 8 offensive rebounds in the second quarter. So I think it was a little bit of that second quarter that bled into then the third quarter. And I thought our offensive process got a little bit bad. Some of our shot selection wasn't great. Then it turned into some easy buckets for them on the other end. So I think that when we were tight, when we were locked in and focused and kind of just keep trusting what we do, it puts us in a good place. And I thought that it got away from us a little bit in the third quarter.
How do you make sure that, I guess, any bad habits don't start creeping into you guys a little bit right now after a couple of tough losses on the road trip?
Yeah, so I think that, like I said, I thought Dallas game, we kind of got it all back together and tightened up some of those habits that you talk about. Tonight I thought that, we started the game with a pretty good, in a pretty good way, and our habits were pretty tight. And then I thought as the game just went on, whether it was fatigue or give Washington credit too, like they played well, the ball was moving. We kind of just fell behind, I think, a little bit, the 8 ball, and so kind of lost some of our habits that we were usually pretty tight with. I think that some timeouts always help, and then just like readjusting our minds, refocusing ourselves, and we'll do that. We're home now. We'll get some more reps in, and I think that we'll see an improvement next game.
See these flashes from Mark in the third quarter, even though, it wasn't the greatest quarter. He's doing everything, disrupting baskets around the rim. He's able to get a lot of second chance putbacks. He's running the floor. How can you turn those flashes into the norm?
Yeah, I think that just more reps, more time out there on the court. He just continues to get better and find his way and his rhythm. But like you said, we just need him to be able to do it for 48 minutes. Every minute that he's out there on the court, he has the ability to do it. We just got to get him there.
Washington was able to complete the season sweep against you guys for the season. What's the level of frustration like when it feels like you can't really crack the code that they've been putting out there game in and game out?
Yeah, I would say no frustration. Just one of those things that we have to learn from. It's a team that, like you said, beat you 4 times. I thought every game was pretty similar from the standpoint of transition and Kispert and Poole. The 3-point line was a big thing, and then also not letting our offense kind of affect in our defense. And so I think we learned from this series with them, and, our division's a tough one, and we got to keep growing and learning.
Hear about that word learn a lot, but what can happen for that learning experience to turn into, hey, we can build upon this and apply it to 4 quarters in a game going forward?
Yeah, we've seen it in some games, some pretty big games that we've had, and just being able to sustain it. And I think that it comes with just reps and experience and understanding if you don't bring your best game on a night-to-night basis, you can get beat in this league. And so you got to be able to continue to do what you do really well, and you also got to be able to game plan and get ready for the next team. And it's going to be maybe a little bit of a different strategy that next game, but the focus has to remain intact from game to game.
Talk about doing what you did well. What do you think this team did well in this game?
Yeah, I thought that we did a really good job defensively. 24-point quarter. The 2 30-point quarters could have been a little bit better. And then the 29-point fourth quarter. So, not too bad from a defensive standpoint. I look at we had 28 assists on 41 made field goal attempts. And so there's a lot of good things. I think that, we just got Malachi Flynn in today. And he came in and gave us a little bit of a boost. And like you said, Mark's showing flashes. There's some possessions where Miles is great, and Melo does a really good job of creating and stuff. So there's flashes throughout the game, I think, from everybody on our team. We just got to be able to put it all together for 48 minutes and kind of all be on the same page at the same time.
Miles, it seems like offense was, really rolling there in that second quarter. I think you had 34 points, and even the start of the third. Why do you feel like it kind of hit that wall there in the middle of the third and that you guys couldn't get that momentum back?
Stop moving the ball. Stop moving the ball. Stop going at mismatches. Stop going to stuff that work. And we've been doing that all season.
Beating you all 4 times this year. Can you put into, words and can you figure out what's happening to you guys in these 4 games?
They're supposed to be the worst team in the league, and they beat us 4 times, so what that make us?
How big of a difference does LaMelo coming back into the fold help for you personally? Because it feels like when LaMelo's not in there, you're the primary ball handler, primary ball scorer. How much pressure does that take off of you when LaMelo's in?
Space the floor. He spaced the floor a lot. the attention's mostly on him, so I get some easy work. Everybody else.
The coach had mentioned, I guess, learning lessons, games like this. What do you guys learn after a loss like this, if anything?
We got to go back to what's working, going at mismatches, getting to the rim, passing the ball. We got away from that in the second half.
Mark just came in here and talked about, seems like each game at some point, whether it's first, second, third, or fourth, there's a lapse that happens. And once that lapse happens, it's hard to get out of it. How do you guys, it's tough to, I guess, answer this question now, but how do you get out of those lapses that you guys keep getting in?
Well, at the start of the season, we relied on our defense. But now we just try to get our offense going by taking shots that we normally don't take or forcing it. We just gotta go back to relying on our defense.
You had 16 in the first half, finished with 18. That kind of goes along with what you were saying, attacking mismatches. What can you guys do to make sure you keep that game plan consistent throughout the 4 quarters?
Stay focused. Stay focused on what's working for us. I could have been better for sure in the second half. I missed a couple easy ones. But just all together as a team, we could do better.
You guys faced the Warriors on Monday, kind of a quick turnaround. What's the message going forward for that game?
Play physical. They beat us by 36 because they play way more physical than us. So we just got to come in that game playing physical.
Mark, it seemed like you guys, especially offensively, were on a good roll in that second quarter, and even at the start of the third, I think you were up 8 maybe, and then it just seemed to kind of flip the other way. Why do you think the pendulum swung so much and that you guys also couldn't retake that momentum?
Yeah, I think the third quarter, a couple fast breaks, a couple easy buckets, and I think for any team that would get them in a rhythm. And we got outscored in the third, 30-16. That's a tough deficit to come back from. I think first half especially, we did a good job moving the ball, getting a lot of the right shots. And then from there, we were trying to fight back, but I think we gave up too much in that little stretch, mid to late third.
Charles talked about how he felt that some stuff from the second quarter bled into the third quarter. How can you guys clean that up going forward?
Yeah, I think defensively it's communication, on-ball defense, but I think it's really just communication and getting into the ball, guarding, knowing guys' tendencies. I think that sort of stuff more than anything.
These guys have beat you 4 times this year. What do you think has been the reason why you couldn't find a way to beat these guys once so far?
I think we just have lapses. I think in each game there's a point in the game where there's a lapse, whether if it's early, whether if it's late, middle of the game, whatever. And I think when those happen, we didn't, bounce back from them like we should have.
And then for you, this is, I think, your 3rd straight double-double. Just what kind of rhythm are you getting into now after kind of getting back in the swing things after the trade, everything else?
Yeah, I think just regaining familiarity with the guys. Obviously, the lack of continuity is always a little tough, but I think being out there, getting into a rhythm, it always makes it a little bit easier every time you're out there.
You all had a really good first quarter, and all 5 starters finished it with double digits. But what is one adjustment you think the team needs to make to close out games stronger?
I think it's staying true to the game plan for the full course of 48 minutes. I don't think, in a certain way. Like, I think we all believe that we could win. We all did a lot of good things throughout the game. I think it's just a matter of sustaining it for the full game. Obviously, we showed a lot of good things on both sides of the ball, but I think we just have to do it for longer and do it enough to win.
Mark, you mentioned lapses as a reason why this keeps happening. You're not a young player in this league, but you're also a cornerstone of this team. So whose shoulders does this fall on to make sure the other players can kind of snap into that mode and get out of those lapses?
I think it's everybody. I think it's a collective effort. It's all 5 of the guys on the court together. It's the bench, being supportive. It's, I think it's everybody. I wouldn't say it's one person that needs to be, that guy per se. I think it's just a matter of all five of us being on the court, being connected, offensively moving the ball, getting the right shots, and then defensively just, moving as one, talking, forcing a lot of tough shots.
Can you talk about the second chance points Washington was able to get? A lot of those times you were able to get to the ball. It seems like Julian Champagny was able to kind of take away some of those, allow multiple possessions for the Wizards. You talk about communication and stuff like that. How does that play into the defensive side and rebounding as well?
Yeah, I think that's just, knowing which guys are crashing. Yeah, he had 3. I think probably a couple more deflections, keeping the ball alive. I think it's just a matter of knowing who's crashing, who's not, getting hits, and just, finding a way to get the ball at the end of the day.
You guys brought Malachi Flynn on board. Just wondering what you saw from him tonight and just what can he bring to this team, do you think?
Yeah, his minutes, he was great. Facilitating, couple assists. Great job on defense. So, I'm excited, for him to be here, and I think he'll make the most of his opportunity.